Hey everybody, Miss Hooper here. I hope you're having a great day. This is another practice video on my preparation for the MWROC Orchestra Camp 2019. And in this video, I'm going to feature a song that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I've been wanting to do this ever since I started going to this camp. And that is Renegade by Styx. I've always thought it'd be perfect, not only the music itself, but the theme of it for the camp. And I'm so excited that we finally get to do it. So I am pumped. This song is very straightforward. A lot in the verses section, I will for the most part follow the melody. There's only one tricky passage, well, one tricky long passage and then a couple little measures, but let's start with the tricky passage. So during the chorus, there's this little riff. In classical terms, we would call it ostinato, but in this case, we're going to call it riff. And it's going to go like this. It's going to be up in third position on the A string, and it's going to start with G. And then I'm trying to work on straightening my bow. Then I go to first finger D, and then I have to have my first finger on the G on the D string, and then go back. So there's a lot of bridge work with that first finger. And so slow down, it's going to go like this. Fix my bow there. Here, I'll see if we can get closer. There we go. How do I move away from? There we go. Sorry. So it's going to go 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 1. And you can hear I'm having some intonation trouble there because that is a perfect fifth, so it has to be super precise. If that finger moves just a little bit off the mark, then I'm going to have some intonation. Now I do have frets on here. The frets help, but I still have to rely more on my ear. The string could have slipped out of tune a little bit. The bridge could have moved, which affects intonation. So at some point before camp, I'll probably need to fix my bridge. But anyway. So for a while, for about 3 or 4 measures actually, I go just nothing but this. But it goes much faster. Then it changes the pattern. It's the same basic pattern, but with different notes. It's going to start on D. And I'm going to stay there in that position, use first finger for that high D, because later on, I have to do 4, 1, 1, 1. Same pattern as before, same fingers as before, just another string. And I have to go back to the first one. So I'm doing a lot of spider crawling back and forth. And it seems easy using the same fingers in the same places. But every time you move a string, the angle of your hand changes. So I have to adjust that angle. I have been working on this. I've been making progress. But I'm going to use this as my warm-up. So again, handy little metronome map, and I'm doing something different this time around. I'm putting this in airplane mode. This time I just don't want any interruptions whatsoever. I don't want any notifications. I don't want any text messages popping in. I don't want anybody, if somebody tries to call me, I don't want to know. So I've put it in airplane mode, and I've chosen, good news is with this app, I don't need a connection to use it. So without further ado, I'm going to start at my tried and true 60 with subdivisions, 1 beat a second. Okay, now that's a lot of repetition, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to shorten the process up a little bit. I'm going to just practice the individual changes, so, and then I'm going to pause in between each one. So I'm going to isolate. Switch, 2, 3, 4. Switch, 2, 3, 4. that one, that G wasn't quite on. I didn't have my fingers all down all the way, my finger down all the way because I was trying to reach the C, so it sounded a little bit fuzzy. That's something I could work on using long tones. And then I go back to. So I'm going to shorten the process up even further. I'm just going to do each of the riffs 2 times instead of 4 times. Let's try that again. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so my goals would later be able to play the whole thing, speed it up. It's the final tempo is not quite 2 beats a minute. So it's about like 112, 107 to 112, which is slower than some of the other songs, but it's still got a nice beat to it. So I would work on that. I'm noticing that my bow is still wanting to go back like that. I've noticed I do that on this Viper, but on my classical violin, my acoustic violin, I go too far that way. So I need to learn how to make those adjustments according to the instrument. The angle in which this instrument's being supported makes a difference. Plus, if you haven't noticed, this has 7 strings, whereas my violin has 4. So there's a lot of adjustments I need to make. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try, I'm going to speed it up. That slowing down at 60 was more for teaching purposes or demonstration purposes. Let's try it at 80. And I'm going to watch my bow. Again, this is a spot where I can memorize. All right, so I've got, that was progress. One thing that popped on my mind as I was doing it, there may be a spot where I can use a second finger A instead of an open A string at the very end to make a transition easier. Not sure if I want to do it because it does break the pattern. It's more thought processes, but it's consideration to make. Let's speed it up to 100. Okay, so I'm getting there. Notice I'm doing very little motions in my arm. The faster you go, the less work you want to make. So smaller is better, less is more. I'm still not quite getting that G solid. So again, I won't bore you in this video with that, but when I turn off the video, I'm going to spend some more time working on that. Let's do 110. No, let's do 112. Now let's start again. I got distracted. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got distracted again. My mind wandered. I started thinking about something else regarding one of my campuses. I teach at 3 schools, by the way. I just started thinking about work in that moment, and I blew it. So I hope you take that as a lesson that when you're practicing, you have to focus on each individual, just right where you're at. Don't let anything interfere. So let's try that again. Okay, that was pretty good. I may be a little bit too close to the bridge, so I'm going to try, again, I'm trying to get my arm out more and be more right here, more centered, a little bit more centered, because the strings are closer when you get closer to the fingerboard. So if I could put my bow there, then the string crossings will actually work in my favor. Let's do that again. Okay, check my angle so I can see what I'm doing. This is for me as much as you. Okay, so I missed a couple notes. I didn't quite reach a string in time. I'm also noticing that I'm crawling further up, which is going to make some imbalance and might make it harder for me. So I'm going to work on that, getting transitions going on there. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to try to play the whole thing with the track, just so I can get used to the general sound, hearing what other people are doing. If I know what the bass and drum and guitar and even keyboard are doing in those tricky passages, then I can actually lean on them for support. That's just how ensembles work. So I hope you found this video helpful. I'm not going to apologize for not having it all together, because I was hoping I would not have it all together. I want you to see the process. I want you to see the struggle, and please let me know what you think. Have a good one. Whoops, it's over here.